Welcome everyone. It is 3 p.m. and it's time for a server room show. This is episode 70. Today I will talk about the cloud. The cloud came up in previous episodes when we discussed, for example, personal development or in other conversation where we talked about cloud-based services or applications. But today I don't want to focus in the aspect of from the application's perspective, like for example Google Docs, as it's being a cloud-based application which saves your documents in the cloud, which then you can access from anywhere with any of your connected devices. I don't want to focus on this cloud-based application perspective or cloud-based service perspective, but I want to talk about the cloud in the sense of the infrastructure, cloud-based or cloud-built infrastructure, kind of like system as a service. And if my voice is not what you normally used to, it can be that there is either some kind of mild allergy season coming around spring every year, or God knows, I just cannot breathe and talk at the same time. I think it's just this usual allergy season. I also want to say that I've reached 70 episode with the server room show, and I still don't know much about the crowd out there who's listening to these episodes. I know a couple of you, but definitely not all of you. I don't know why you guys not share some feedback. I mean, you can send an email, you can reach out in social media on Mastodon would be the best one. Or just send an email. Just let me know that you are out there and listening to this show, or share any kind of feedback, good or bad, because 70 episodes after, or I could say 70 weeks after, I still don't know more about the audience than I did after episode the 10th episode, for example. So yeah, I wanted to say that, and I wanted to say that if my voice is not the same, and I think on my previous episode it was a bit similar, then it might be just because of some mild allergies. So as I said, I want to focus on the cloud in a form of what it can do for you to build your infrastructure, and yeah, you can take it as from an aspect of application developer. If you want to bring your application to the cloud, make it a cloud-based application which does all its things and saves everything in the cloud, making it resilient by that. But I will focus on some other part of the cloud today. Normally what I say when I want to explain the cloud to people is that it is someone else's computer, and funny, it is most of the time a correct assumption or a correct statement regarding the cloud. As per Wikipedia, cloud computing is the on-demand availability of computer system resources, especially data storage and computing power, without direct active management by the user. The term is generally used to describe data centers available to many users over the internet. As per Cloudflare, I know many of you don't like Cloudflare, but yeah, I took their explanation of the cloud. They refer to the cloud to servers that are accessed over the internet and the software and databases that run on those servers. Cloud servers are located in data centers all over the world. By using cloud computing, users and companies don't have to manage physical servers themselves or run software applications on their own machines. The cloud enables users to access the same files and applications from almost any device, because the computing and storage takes place on servers in a data center instead of locally on the user's device. This is why a user can log into their Instagram account, for example, on a new phone after their old phone breaks, and still find their old account in place with all their photos, videos, and conversation history. It works the same way with cloud email providers like Gmail or Microsoft Office 365, and with cloud storage providers like Dropbox or Google Drive. This is the application, cloud-based application perspective, but when I look at the cloud providers, I want to look at it as an alternative for a physical on-premises infrastructure. That's how I normally deal with the cloud, or have to deal with the cloud. The big cloud providers out there, the ones you already know, IBM Cloud, we talked about it in the episodes of AIX, where I can run power-based virtual machine running AIX 7.2, Microsoft's Azure, Amazon's AWS, Google's Google Cloud platform. These are the main ones, and I know that there is Alibaba, I think, or Alibaba or AliExpress. I always get confused with these two. I think it's Alibaba Cloud. So there are emerging cloud providers as well, but the main ones are the ones I'm gonna touch down on. All of them have some form of the verb free in them. Some of them offer always free options, and some offers free for a limited period of time, or offers something called like a free trial, and then when the time or the provided credit eligibility runs out, then you're gonna be billed normally for normal price for those services. AWS, its free tier includes more than 60 products. These are in these two different types of free options. Some of them I mentioned that are available depending on the product you use. It could be always free and 12 months free. The AWS free tier provides customers the ability to explore and try out AWS services free of charge, up to specified limits for each service. The free tier is comprised of 3 different types of offerings: 12-month free tier, an always free offer, and the aforementioned these free trials or short-term trials. Services with a 12-month free tier allow customers to use the product for free up to specified limits for 1 year from what date the account was created. Services with an always free offer allow customers to use the product for free up to specified limits as long as they are an AWS customer. Services with short-term trial are free to use for a specified period of time or up to a one-time limit depending on the service selected. Details on the limits and services provided for free are detailed in each card on the free tier page. If your application use exceeds the free tier limits, you simply pay standard pay-as-you-go service rates. You have to see each service page for full pricing details, as these might change. Some services such as Amazon EC2, Amazon RDS, and Elastic Load Balancing charge for usage on an hourly basis. The AWS free tier for these services provides you with a monthly allotment of hours for the first 12 months. For example, the AWS free tier for the Amazon EC2 provides you with 750 hours usage of Linux. Any combination of these T1 micro, T2 micro, or T3 micro sized instances, plus 750 hours usage of Windows, which could be any combination of this T1 micro, T2 micro, or T3 micro instances. How you divide this allotment is up to you. I will say an example where you can run 750 hours of Linux T2 micro or T1 micro instance together with 750 hours of Windows T2 micro or T1 micro instance each for the first 12 months. In regions where T2 micro is not available, the T3 micro equivalent is supported under AWS free tier. For example, you can use one Linux instance continuously for a month or 10 Linux instances for 75 hours a month within your free tier. And you can do this with one Linux and one Windows batch, and you can play with it in the same way. You can, as I mentioned, you can divide this allotment up the way you want, as long as you don't go over the 750 hours of limit and the type of instance on each on Linux end and on Windows's end. In some cases, it's true pretty much for all of these cloud and these free tier offerings. Leaving your resources running can maximize your free tier benefits, and it's true for AWS free tier as well. So if you leave your resources running, it can maximize your benefit. For example, when an Amazon EC2 instance enters into running state, a full instance hour is charged. This will occur every time an instance changes into running state, even in the same hour. Instances stop being built when they are stopped, but are built for full last hour during which they are running. AWS builds Amazon EC2 instances in instance hours. An instance is built as soon as it enters the running state, and when an instance enters the shutting down, stopped or terminated, they stop billing for this instance. Amazon machine images that are eligible for the AWS free tier are marked in the Amazon EC2 launch wizard as free tier eligible. The AWS free tier allotment for Linux and Microsoft Windows instances is counted separately, as I mentioned. You can run 750 hours of a Linux T3 micro, T2 micro, or T1 micro instance, plus 750 hours of a Windows T3, T2, or T1 micro instance each month for the first 12 months. I brought down some highlights of AWS free tiers. AWS Lambda, this function as a service can be used under free tier with up to 1 million requests and 3.2 million seconds compute time a month. AWS step functions, the user is allowed 4,000 free state transition per month. Amazon Glacier, this is a long-term data storage service, and the user can retrieve up to 10 gigabytes of data. AWS Code Commit, AWS allows up to 5 users with 50 gigabytes per month of storage and 10,000 Git requests. AWS Code Pipeline, users get 1 active pipeline per month for free. AWS Code Build, users gets 100 build minutes per month on the Build General one small instance type under the free tier. Amazon DynamoDB, AWS's NoSQL database, offers 25 gigabytes of storage and 25 units of read and write capacity free each month. Amazon claims this is enough to handle up to 200 million requests per month. Amazon Chime, this is an AWS business communication service that is entirely free for new customers from the 4th of March 2020 to 30th of June 2020. So yeah, this is most probably not free anymore. Basic features included text chat and voice calling for always free. Microsoft Azure's equivalent of free tier is referred to as a free account. As a new user in Azure, you are given $200 or 170 euros worth of credit that has to be used in the first 30 days after activating your account. When you have used up the credit or 30 days have expired, you will have to upgrade to a paid account if you wish to continue using certain products. Ensure that you have a plan to reduce your Azure costs in place if you want to continue. If you don't need the paid products, there is also the always free option. Some of the ways people choose to use their free account are to gain insights from their data, test and deploy enterprise apps, create custom mobile experiences, and so on. Some of the Azure's free tier highlights: Azure Functions. Users can make up to 1 million requests per month under the free tier. Azure Active Directory. Free tier offers up to 50,000 authentications per month. Azure DevOps. User can create up to 5 users, each with unlimited private Git repositories. Azure App Service. Up to 10 web, mobile or API apps can be created at zero cost. Azure Cosmos DB. Use up to 500 GB of storage and 400 requests units per second without any cost each month. Azure offers 5 GB of outbound data for free per month. IBM Cloud. You probably know this one. I am running AIX as per the previous two-part episode we saw about AIX in IBM Cloud based on a Power Virtual Machine. Full stack cloud platform with over 170 products and services covering data, containers, AI, IoT, and blockchain. You could also run VMware vCenter or vSphere server to create a completely software-defined data center running on IBM Cloud or x86 and IBM Power Virtual Machines with SkyTab for IBM Cloud, as you might remember from those previous AIX episodes. Compute. From bare metal servers to serverless compute, IBM offers resources for any workload. When it comes to storage, you can choose from robust and durable object, block, and file storage services. IBM's free tier called the IBM Cloud Lite account. Lite accounts don't have an expiration date, they don't require a credit card, and they provide limited access to a catalog of more than 40 always free services, including IBM Watson's APIs. When you upgrade to a pay-as-you-go account, you get access to the entire IBM Cloud catalog and over 350 products and the $200 US credit, which is valid for 30 days, that can be applied to any service. With a pay-as-you-go account, you will get access to the entire free tier, including 50 plus services and promotional discounts. Google Cloud. The Google Cloud free tier is essentially an extended free trial that gives you access to free cloud resources, so you can learn about the Google Cloud services by trying them on your own. The Google Cloud free tier has two parts: a 12-month free trial with $300 credit to use with any Google Cloud services and always free, which provides limited access to many common Google Cloud resources free of charge. Google Cloud gives you a little more time with your credit than Azure or AWS or even IBM Cloud. You get the full 12 months of the free trial to use your credit. Unlike free trials from the other cloud providers, Google does not automatically charge you once the trial ends. This way you are guaranteed that the free tier is actually 100% free. Keep in mind that your trial ends after 12 months or once you have exhausted your $300 US dollar credit. Any usage beyond the free monthly usage limits are covered by the $300 USD free credit, and you must upgrade to a paid account to continue using Google Cloud. The Google Cloud free tier highlights are Google BigQuery. User can available up to 1 terabyte of querying and 10 gigabyte of storage per month without any cost. Google Cloud Build. On a daily basis, users gets 120 build minutes for free. Google Cloud Source Repositories. Under the free tier, Google Cloud offers up to 5 users with 50 GB of storage and 50 GB of outbound data. Google Cloud Functions free tier offers 2 million invocations, both background and HTTP, along with 5 GB of outbound network data, 40,000 gigabyte seconds, and 20,000 gigahertz seconds of computing time. Google Compute Engine, only one F1 micro virtual machine is available for free in US region, but GPU or TPU usage will incur additional cost. Google Cloud Storage, under the free tier, each month users are offered 5 GB of regional storage in the US, 5,000 Class A and 50,000 Class B operations, and 1 GB of outbound data that is restricted as per Compute Engine. My closing thoughts is that the cloud can be however you want it to be. It can be small and simple, or big, expensive and complex. It can replace your on-premises infrastructure and physical servers if you want to, and make all of it to exist up in the cloud somewhere in AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud Platform, or even IBM's cloud. You can move your whole VMware, vCenter, or vSphere instances to the cloud together with the virtual machines they run on top. These things, however, can start from 5,000 to 6,000 euros per month, depending on the configuration, and it's for a one host non-production environment, or a production environment where the minimum is 2 to 3 hosts. Configurations, those prices go much above the mentioned 5,000 or 6,000 euros per month. You can read more about it in the links of the show notes, which includes VMware on AWS calculator as well. You can have just a few virtual machines with free tiers for studying for a certification exam, or just simply home labbing from anywhere without the need to buy expensive second-hand servers and pay electricity bills to the hundreds. These are just a few examples, and you can do a lot or just very little with the cloud. It's completely your decision. As you see, the cloud has its limitation when you want to enjoy it for free, or you can do like I do, that with these pay and go accounts, or pay and go customer accounts. If you only use your instances, your couple of virtual machines here and there, for example, when you need it, and the usage is not above I don't know, 10 or 15 hours per month, then you can really keep the cost down by not running them 24/7, and only turning them on and turning them off when you don't need them for your lab or your certification exam, or for your studies. And it can be really a great tool and asset. And just by having these accounts and playing with it and see how things are done on each of these cloud platforms can help you perhaps pursue a certification in some of these cloud providers exam, like get an AWS certificate, or get a Microsoft Azure technician certificate, and try to apply for a job regarding that make it your path, make it your mission to become a cloud administrator, as more and more it is becoming the future. And I think these options to experience the cloud, all these cloud providers for free from your own home in your free time, can help you, again, as we discussed in the personal development episode, can help you learn something, to study something, to prepare yourself for the future, for a future role, and maybe become a Microsoft Azure administrator. Why not? end of the day, a system administrator is a system administrator. You deal with physical on-premises hardware, or you deal with cloud ones, or perhaps you deal with hybrid infrastructures, which part of it exists in the cloud and part of it exists on physical on-premises servers. So I really think that it's a great opportunity to familiarize yourself with these cloud platforms and their dashboards, and look at their exams, their certification path, look around their how certain things can be set up on one platform and on the other. There is good documentations, and Google can always help you, of course. And learning the terminology and familiarize yourself with these platforms can perhaps help you land another job, or a better job than what you have now. That's honestly my opinion regarding the cloud. And like I said, you can also use it for beyond those free tiers and limits to your own fun and advantage to run a couple of virtual machines in the free tier, run a Linux virtual machine, run a Windows virtual machine. Try those services offered for free with certain limits, like Azure AD. Actually, I am trying out Azure AD right now, even though it has its limits, but it's more than enough to see a little bit how do things with Azure AD. So weigh the pros and cons of a cloud solution, and see if it fits for your requirement and workload and your plans. I think that on-premises and physical infrastructure at companies are being phased out and will eventually be on the very minimal, or just the absolute necessity to just run the place, to be able to connect up the office or the branch office to somehow to the cloud or those cloud services. So I think it will become just to the bare minimum to be offices which only have an internet connection, perhaps a couple of switches and routers, and everything else happens in the cloud, like the authentication of the users with Azure AD, or the actual servers running up in the cloud, and companies trying to keep as little as possible physical on-premises infrastructure they have to then maintain and take care about. So I believe that this is definitely the future, software-defined and cloud-based solutions, and perhaps it's still time to get into some experience with the cloud, get some certification, and become the sysadmin of the future with cloud-based solutions. And you can always mix and match knowledge in between, because many things you learn can be applied on one side or on the other, in my opinion. Infrastructure which can be managed from anywhere in the world without the need to travel to it, and which can be automated to do things you cannot do with physical hardware, only with virtual machines and software-defined solutions. You know, these automations, when to turn them on, when to turn them off, do a bit more complex events, like what to do when thing X happens. You can define workflows and chains of actions, so you can really spend your days managing an infrastructure through these dashboards of Azure, AWS, or Google's cloud platform, and enjoy a bit more from anywhere you want and from your own comfort, and no need to be in data centers and on-premises data centers or server rooms. So you can really focus on what's important. that was for today's episode, and thank you very much for listening. As I said in the very beginning of this episode, if you can, please reach out, send an email, or just come by to social media like Mastodon, and just let me know that you listen to the show, because as I said, I know very little of the people who listens to this podcast. Thank you very much, and see you next Saturday.